So what message is Beijing sending, really? Our Eunice Yoon is there covering the CEO summit where Cook appeared. She joins us now alongside Brian Sullivan, who has details on a newly announced multi-billion-dollar investment in China by Saudi Aramco. Welcome to both of you. Eunice, let's start with you. And what are you hearing?
Well, Beijing wants, Kelly, CEOs to make sure that they hear that this country is dedicated to an open China. Now, in public, the bosses of Apple, of Pfizer, of Bridgewater, as well as others, had expressed their support for China's growth. In fact, Tim Cook had said at one of the side sessions that Apple and China have had a symbiotic kind of relationship. Also, Pfizer's Albert Bourla told me that the drug giant was aligned with China's Healthy 2030 initiative and would contribute as much as it could. The forum, though, couldn't escape the worries about the souring U.S.-China relationship. Not only were many fewer U.S. CEOs here for the forum this year, but also the mood at the forum was very pessimistic. Kelly?
Many fewer CEOs. So the fact that Tim Cook showed up is even a bigger deal. Why did most people stay home?
Well, a lot of people decided to stay home because they were concerned about the geopolitical situation. There were so many people and companies that were saying to me that they just felt like it would be a really bad look. The optics would be terrible for D.C. when D.C. and Congress is holding a lot of hearings about U.S.-China relations. So that's one thing that's been on people's minds. Also, the overall business climate is something that a lot of companies are worrying about and seeing as a risk. You mentioned the Mintz Group. They're not the only ones. The Japanese drug maker just in the past couple of days has said that one of its employees has also been detained, and they're working with the Japanese authorities to try to figure out exactly why the Chinese authorities decided to take that person. So a lot of risk here and a lot of reassessment of what kind of relationship companies need to have with China.
Very, very interesting, Eunice. Thanks. Our Eunice Yoon reporting. That's not all out of China today. Beijing also inking this big deal with Saudi Aramco to expand a refinery and supply more oil. Brian Sullivan is here with that. What's the angle here, you think, Brian?
Money. I think that might be the angle, and the increased tie-up, Kelly, between Saudi Arabia and China. We know that the East is kind of coming together. It's really kind of two deals that are both oil-related. Number one, you've got Aramco agreeing to spend a bunch of money and expand a refinery in China, also increasing their investment in a joint venture over a petrochemical plant. Because when you run the petrochemical plant, or at least have an ownership stake in it, you can ensure a flow of oil needed to do it. So a refinery over here, petrochemicals over here. Looking at the numbers, Kelly, some analysis says this could be more than 1 million barrels extra per day of oil sold by Saudi Arabia into China. Of course, all this follows Xi Jinping's visit to the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia in December. Now, ironically, this Aramco deal may hurt Russia. Russia had been, even still, China's biggest oil supplier. Previously, Saudi Arabia took that back. This should put them on over the top. So you do wonder, Kelly, if this will possibly increase a little bit of tension between Riyadh and Moscow. Time will tell, but Beijing and Riyadh certainly coming together on a big oil deal.